Hello everyone and welcome to day 3 of Verizon Game Changers. Today is a very exciting day. Yesterday we had to say goodbye to 2 of the 8 teams that qualified for the main event, and today it is also elimination at stake. Other 2 teams are gonna go home, but today's matches are very exciting. We're gonna go through that lower bracket, and yesterday as we got to say goodbye to Infinity and the boys, today is gonna be between Decimate, YFP, and Passion Project versus Supernova Galaxy. Let's take a look though at what happened yesterday on the main stream, on the second stream.
Nothing like a great hype video to get you in the mood to watch some more VALORANT Game Changers NA Series 1.
I'm a soldier, I'm killing your vibe. Yeah, you're running away, you think you can hide. Yeah, you are on the brink of exhaustion. I'm getting into my stride. Yeah, you want some love and devotion, but I'm not the stereotype, nah. Why do you think you are better than me? I prove that you're wrong, get your blood on my heel. I know what I want, I know what I need. Yeah, so get up my way, or I command you to bend the knee, bend the knee, bend the knee, or I'll kill ya, or I'll kill ya. Bend one enemy remaining. Bend the knee, bend the knee, or I'll kill ya, or I'll kill ya. One enemy remaining.
This time they're gonna fight forward.
She's underneath him.
Passion Project
Breach completely isolated back towards spawn. None of the utility is hitting, and every shot from Dodo is hitting.
See to activate on her lurk, and that's done wonders. Jazzy on the reaction now, dealt with. Lace again. There's an entourage in main for fly. Stuns, ult, all that coming in, but the shots as well.
Try to get into A here, but Dodo not up and above. Oh no, straight out of the air.
Jazzy 1v2. What can she make of this? A walk around through alley. A player unsuspecting on the other side. 1v1. Starbound. Where are they in this endeavor? Sticking halfway. When does Starbound swing? When does Starbound commit? The moment taken, and Jazzy's got it done.
Strikes right. DC will fall. Aww. What?
No
She's gonna do it again!
Flash.
It was dry! No, just goes up top. 4 joins in on it. Can they find any more? They're gonna upgrade weapons. Maybe Emluo can stabilize and save. No other weapons have been scooped up. They're back to pistols. They've reset the situation. Oh! 4 on the round from Emluo. Be the difference maker.
This is very costly as well.
Noya might pull this off. 16 HP, 18 bullets. Oh, she's gonna ult. Round 2.
You go for the wall bang here. That's the question.
Pain. Oh. I thought she was gonna hit it. 46 HP on the other side. 13 seconds left. You've got to take the fight. Noya with 4.
And the vibes were great, but also very intense with that replay. Everything that happened yesterday on the main stream and that second stream that we got to watch, and that means it leaves us with the 6 teams that we have today. But at the end of today, it's only gonna be 4, and guaranteeing that top 4 means everything, Bala, for the teams that are gonna be playing today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these games in the lower bracket, the gauntlet has begun, right? And you're getting time on the main stream. We're slowing things down now. Everybody's going to be casted at the same time too, so these teams that played yesterday didn't get the full spotlight. It was on a secondary stream, but now, right, they're going up against these teams that fell from the upper bracket, and it's going to get real interesting real fast.
And it's a lot of players that haven't been in the spotlight they are talking about either. So many of these teams are combinations of upcoming players that were playing all in GC 2023 but never really cracked into the main event or making it deep in the main event. And here they are now on the main broadcast, the only broadcast. Pressure on them in the lower bracket, a totally new situation for a lot of these players, and it'll be interesting to see who will rise to the occasion and who might struggle under the spotlight.
Yeah, this one's interesting because, it's not going to be Shopify, it's not going to be FlyQuest playing today. Some people might look at this and be like, oh, this is a filler episode, but this might be the filler episode that if you miss, you're going to miss the Dark Horse spawning, you're going to miss the team that's going to go on a run and end up being one of those new challengers that we love to see in Game Changers, and we would love to see as well be able to topple some of the top teams.
And it's interesting because you guys bring up the new teams, the new players even that we're seeing. It does feel like a new generation of Game Changers on this main event, with a lot of recognized players have made it internationally, but also the same players that we know and love. And speaking of those players, if you look at this Decimate roster, one of the teams that we're going to have today, you'll recognize a couple of these names from so many Game Changers, right? I think of Rise constantly playing, being at the top of the game, not being able to get that top 2, but it seems like this Decimate roster, Wyatt, is looking very good.
Yeah, I like what I was seeing from Decimate a lot yesterday. I think the construction of this roster was pretty cool. Bringing in Misu, who had a breakout year with DSG in 2023. Also, Zen and Kari, both from Newton last year, one of the unsigned teams that was always punching up towards some of the top signed teams, and they've come together. Rise, a pretty experienced player with them, Emluo as well, and these guys look really good. I liked what I was seeing yesterday, despite it happening in a loss. I think the experience from their initiators setting up Zan was absolutely shining. You can see with the op, and that stat on the lower third was so standout to me when the game ended. They lost 13-5, but had more first kills than Shopify. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we see these situations like almost pretty frequently, I'd say, in all sorts of levels of Valorant. And usually it indicates a team that's incredibly good at individual skill, and they have things that are lacking elsewhere. The thing is here, I'm not sure if that's the same thing where you're going to be able to say, oh, this team, they're not going to be able to go far. I think Decimate in particular is a team that was punching up against Shopify and really had the opportunities to maybe do a little bit more damage than they did, but unfortunately I think it's just one of those moments that Shopify is way better, so you can't make the same evaluations that you would always make in that case where it's like, damn, they lost like when they were up first kills. It's one of those situations where the other team, and I think both the upper bracket games yesterday kind of showed that when the other team is just simply better and has more depth, that can happen pretty frequently.
Yeah, Decimate, they were showing a lot of rounds that were impressive in regard to the team play, how they were setting up Zan with the operator, pushing the Shopify players into the op sight lines to get those opening kills. It was really nice. They had a lot of great qualities, just not at the consistency yet to take a game off Shopify or go really deep where it's down to the wire 13-11, but clearly showed enough that it's like, okay, these guys have serious potential.
And it's interesting too because when you got to see that first match that Decimate played, it went all the way to 3 with the boys. Then yesterday, as you guys were talking about, it was against Shopify. Tough match. It had some good signs for this team. But on the other side, things go the other way around for YFP, where they take the loss for the first match against Flyke, was the other team that is in the upper bracket, and then they lose against, or take that win rather, against Infinity X, but it goes all the way to 3, Bala.
Yeah, this game that they had yesterday was, I mean, crazy. It's 2 comebacks basically, losing the first map and then having 2 significant comebacks, like 6-7 round type beat. And it was heroics, I think, from players like Raven, from players like Kurosu, add Kazler in there as well. Not necessarily the star players. I think that would go to Nico Aimer, but that's the thing, right? Like in those games that go down to the wire, that's the real important thing, is these players need to be able to come out and have hero plays. And that's the thing that I was hoping that they would bring in that first series against FlyQuest, but unfortunately it just wasn't there in that opening match, and it was yesterday. Maybe because if the teams are a little bit more on the same level. I think in that match in particular, you saw the potential for YFP. I just hope that they're able to deliver when the competition continues to get as hard as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we were looking at the bracket and talking about these new teams deep in the playoffs, will they succumb to the pressure, all that, you're kind of talking exactly about YFP. Like, if you're a GC viewer that usually tunes in around the playoffs, you want to see the last few games, that kind of thing, as a lot of people do, and you're looking at this team like, wait, who? Because it's a bunch of players that have been solid on those teams just outside of the main event that are now making a solid run together. It's the kind of team where you were alluding to, well, like a dark horse in the making. That could be a YFP.
With this team too for YFP, as you guys mentioned, is a team that is new. You recognize maybe a couple players, only one that has made it to the main event before, but a team that is looking better and better with really good signs of life. One thing that really catches my attention is two players, Raven and Nico Amer, that we've seen some really good plays of. They were part of Overkill the last year, and they also, for that last match that they had last year, they went against Korosu, then they pick up Korosu. So you have this mix of players that know each other, either playing with or against each other. But Raven, to me, is maybe the highlight Vala that we saw yesterday.
Yeah, I think in all the games so far, Raven has been the standout. The things that they're able to do with the Guardian is just crazy. And they had multiple very important moments, I think, that allowed momentum to swing in their way yesterday in that game against Infinity. So definitely the player to watch for me. I have big stocks for Korosu as well. I really like the way that they were coming up with some unique angles. And yeah, those two players in my mind are the players for YFP that I think need to stand out if they want to continue in this low bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so impressed with Raven, specifically on the Viper. I mean, they play, of course, the other controller roles, Omen, etc. But
30
the
seconds
stats
left.
on the Viper, like the kills per round, 0.83, which is just so good for that agent. Pretty standout. This ace was crazy. I'm really looking to Raven to be the catalyst for what I think you would consider a YFP upset here. I think Decimate are definitely the favorites heading into this, but YFP could absolutely win off the back of these quality players they have.
They have the potential to do so, but it really is for these teams kind of the underdog, and there's also these like really wholesome interactions, and I love that we're seeing kind of the veteran experienced players, people in the scene that we know, like Rain, and these kind of interactions.
Yeah, this is awesome. Rain, a legend in the scene, working behind the scenes right now, and just complimenting, and Raven, knowing who it is, knowing the pedigree behind it. It's really interesting and fun to see. I mean, these are new players, people who used to respect the top of the scenes, and here they are now taking, some of the spots up here in Game Changers. It's going to be fun to watch, especially how it continues to develop. So love to see these wholesome moments, especially just arising randomly in the community.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. It's kind of a new generation of game changers coming through for this year, and we've seen the players like Rain, and now we're seeing this new teams coming up and forming and trying to make it all the way to the top to put up a fight against Shopify, who continues to stay on that #1. But now we get to talk a little bit about how today is gonna go, and I'm very excited for the maps. Bala, I really want to ask you about this. It is gonna be Sunset Lotus Ascent. I was really praying, hoping that we would see an icebox, because Decimate were playing Reyna on it, and I really wanted to see it. But Sunset Lotus Ascent, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think this is just overall good map pool for both teams. On the icebox point, it would have been interesting, because to be honest, I think Decimate should lean into those comps against teams that are even or potentially weaker. In general, I think the teams that are better, like Shopify, like FlyQuest, those types of teams, are going to be able to handle those comps with relative ease, but less experienced teams would struggle. So, with the comps that are going to come out here on these three maps, I don't think you're going to see much of that. And it's an interesting look for DCM, I think. And as you can see, they banned Icebox in the second round. So,
yeah, the most noticeable thing about this, the last time these two teams played, Decimate won 2-0 and it was on Sunset and Lotus, like 13-6, 13-4, and those are going to be the first two maps here again. So YFP going to have to have done a lot of work in the past about 3 weeks, month or so since that previous game. It's interesting to see it go into the exact same place.
When you look at it, it really does seem that just by the map pool, Decimate could take the win based on it. And in the past results, that was the match that eliminated YFP from the first open qualifier. And it was not really close at all. Why? Like you were saying, it was the Lotus 13-4 and it was the Sunset going 13-6. But I think it can also come down to we're playing on a new patch and there can be new agents while that can be played, especially on Sunset.
Yeah, but even more than that, right? Like the first open qualifiers where they had that match, that's where they were able to put YFP's run to a stop. YFP in the second qualifier played way better, right? They go way deeper. And so I think when you think about it, it's a month and a half almost actually since that last game. So there's been a lot of time and you've already seen YFP play a lot better throughout that. So despite the fact that, yeah, I mean, comps could change, all the prep could change, in terms of form as well, I think that's the portion that you kind of need to look at. Specifically in this event, obviously I'd say Decimate maybe slightly outperforming in form, but you know, day to day things can change too, and I think YFP got a big boost in confidence after yesterday.
It is one of those teams that are on the come up where the more that you see them, especially from the open qualifier that was, like you said, so long ago, to now, you see them making those comebacks, having those rounds look closer, and that is why any of the teams can really take the win. But to me, though, it's going to depend a lot on YFP trying and getting this win on Sunset to get some momentum going for what is to come. Wyatt.
Yeah, definitely. And here we have the agent select. I wanted to double check and see what was going on with the comps, how different they would be to last time. And YFP's here on Sunset is way different. Previously, they were running a Gecko and a KO. They're opting for that solo initiator Sky with the double controller Omen Viper that is extremely common on this map. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, take it. You can go on, Bala, but yeah, they've switched to something pretty standard.
And it's interesting because this was, you know, you talked about the meta switch and whatnot, Dan, but like this is going away from, I think, a lot of teams are still running this. Don't get me wrong, it's not like out of the meta completely, but in terms of changes, right? Their old comp was literally some of the, I mean, it's basically the Sentinels comp with a Jet instead of a Ray. So the old comp is like more meta, at least forward thinking than anything. It's very interesting, and I think this goes back, by the way, the Decimate comp is not changed to what they play, and it's a pretty standard, you know, breach fade for what it is in the meta is actually quite good. But I think this goes to what you were talking about, right, Dan? Like the things can change, and just because we saw one scoreline last time, I think especially when there's comp differences in play, it's not going to look the same.
And we got to see how it is going to play out. Both of the teams bringing their own touch, whether it is with the same agents or with something new. But it's time that we get the action started, and we send it to Lemon Kiwi and Vincili.
Ah, she said your name, Van. She said in the green room she was only going to mention me because you had to throw out your dad joke and get everyone to hate
I'm
you.
I'm a teaser, but... yeah, I guess so. My dad jokes, I made her kind of angry, but it's so cool that she actually said my name, so I'm looking forward to now this great series we're about to get.
Yeah, and today we decide our top 4, so we're in the lower bracket. We're on our last life. We are not cats. We don't have 9 of them. It all comes down to this best of 3. And these two have met before in that first open qualifier. I would say we went pretty heavily in the way of Decimate, but we talked about how YFP have changed up the comp, so this could be a different look.
That's why I agree with what Wyatt was saying. It was like it's going to be a very underdog story if YFP could actually beat Decimate today in the series. Although changing the comp is kind of nice, especially now that they're starting on the attack. The only big question mark that I have is because they don't have this raise, how do you counter and play against the Cypher, where usually that utility could be good for that? So Neko's staying as his Jet, opening it up towards the A side, and that's the big question mark. They're about to go head-to-head against the setup that Carry currently has towards the A site. How do they break this util, or how do they work together to play against the Cypher?
And YFP have the chance to cross into elbow A very safely. They're playing very quiet, very slow. They have a Cypher lurking over at B. So maybe trying to force an anti-decision out of Decimate to come out and show themselves to see really how open this map really is. Mid is open as well. You see YFPX looking towards maybe crossing there if there's no smokes or anything standing in their way. That Viper wall at A maybe is making them second guess how they want to enter.
Yeah, the mid round becomes now a default for YFP. You're going to try to potentially start pulling extremities, especially now that they break the door and also the trap on the A side. So you're kind of keeping Decimated anchored in their positions. It comes down to YFP's gamble. If they want to try to work towards this B site, they might have an opportunity here because there'll be a 2-on-2.
Ooh, nice lineup by Kurosu. B site already being attacked. Both defenders removed. This is a plant by YFPX. You have Decimate coming at the back side. Good smoke on the right door where that Cypher from Carry wants to come through. And Kurosu's taking care of business. Decimate, how do you retake this? Pushing out, though, is Neko. On the corner is Rise with not a lot of health. Managing to get a trade there. It's not too bad. Carry hoping to make a splash, but YFPX will take pistol.
This is a great start for YFP as well. As we talk about the underdog story or how it's going to be difficult for this team to win against Decimate, what they're good at and what they've mentioned on the desk and also past days here for the Game Changers main event is that you have good aim in this roster. And even if you had maybe not the best frags coming out in the previous days from Neko Aimer, to have her come out and open the way that she did in his pistols and create that space for the team, it is a great momentum booster for them to hopefully steamroll off this pistol that you get. As now for this round on defense, you still see not really a stack coming in for DCM. The gamble is maybe more placed towards the A side, very standard of what we're currently seeing, and not trying to gamble on instant trades or no trap plays coming out yet from the defensive side.
And it's great that YFPX just took pistol against them because Decimate love to go to Lotus, love to go to Sunset. So this is a map that they're comfortable on. YFPX have changed that composition and are exploring the map, wanting to go A, now taking control of mid, using Dog to just look both ways before crossing the road and seeing really how many people are at the A site and what is looking safest. Engagement around the corner. Zan is going to have 2 players to worry about. Is going to hear some stomping in the flash around, but it wasn't well timed. It's Zan with 3. Holds down B for the defense.
Oh, maybe you don't need a stack when you got Zan with a Sheriff like that. Plenty off, and you'll get the 3 kills and also dropping the spike. Instantly, you turn it around, and then finally she gets stopped at least.
For now. Great shots. Zan has done a lot of damage into YFPX, but Cypher and Carry. Carry comes out on top. Door is open. The defense knows exactly where the spike is. Raven's in a 1v4. We hyped her up, but this is too much for her to handle. DCM will take anti-eco.
Yeah, and it started off well for YFP by winning the pistol, and you brought up a great point of, changing things around and liking to take the map over to Lotus, and winning this one be huge here for YFP. And it comes down to a rematch. This is also a rematch that Decimate was like they plastered, like they dominated YFP in that series. I think it was like a 13-6 on this map. So you're coming in with DCM not having this, or should I say DCM having the same composition, and YFP has that rep, so they could potentially anti against DCM. But then when you lose against a Sheriff like that, that's going to put a stick in the wheels here for how you want it to steamroll off your pistol.
Kurosu has the Guardian and it delivers, but now that they're gone, they'll drop the gun to another teammate. 4-3 is YFPX. Have this breach around the corner. Good turnaround on the flash. Rise knows there's some action here, and you don't really know how many. So I like that Rise is playing their life, maybe summoning some rotations out of this omen of Mluo. Just took a look at mid. And this Cypher from Carry is going to keep eyes and ears over at A because there's a lurker of Raven over there. But for now, let's set our attention to this B site entry. Orb going to be grabbed by YFPX, and with the smoke in the way, they may rethink this approach.
This is a great start for Kurosu and company as they moved down and got the Guardian kill. Even though they died, that allows Kazler and Neko Aimer to actually upgrade into Spectres, and they have actually a pretty decent buy for the hit towards the A side. This whole time, Raven was still lurking, and the condition that they have on this wall on the A side is to have her continue to work on the A side, break the util. It'll give them a free plat because it looks like DCM is looking to play the retake with this Cypher utility on the A site. And if you're looking at DCM, they still have a big flash out of this Omen that could help them trade. The YFP are looking to fight for a flash potentially towards spawn and swing.
Yeah, do you want to swing around this top corner? With the smoke in place, you know this defense is going to be slowed. You check the flank there with the bird, not getting much if you're Sekia, so all your eyes are in front. And, well, I guess spraying through the smoke didn't work out for Neko. Rise with 2. Here's the retake from DCM. And Sekia and Kazler just playing around the box, playing around their life. The spike is planted. Just have to deny the defuse. It's a 2 versus 1. Rise with the 3rd and the 4th. But do they have time to defuse?
It should be an easy one here.
Clutch.
I mean,
Got me stressed though.
yeah. it was still nice for YFP that they did all of this damage on a sheriff buy that they had. I just thought that potentially here, because you're playing that single initiator and you've already dogged up towards the A link, your guess is now, yes, are they towards the flank or are they towards spawn? Sekia was in a great position to maybe even flash her spawn so the Jet could actually get, you know, some information and hopefully be able to get away. But now you're trying to be a little more reactive. Thankfully, you still had Kazler in the sight with the paranoid to delay even more, but trying to get the surprise play to push continuously towards spawn probably would have helped them maybe even seal that round. But looks to be semi-quick here on the defense. Satchling forward on towards the A side. Not going to see anything yet.
Back-to-back rounds for Decimate. It's an important round for YFPX to try and pull that momentum, or they're going to be looking pretty broke after this. But mid's pretty open as YFPX look to cross into B. Who awaits them is Carry and Rise playing at the back. Then, of course, they have Misu hearing out what's going on in mid. But very pushed up, though, on the right of this A side is Emluo and Zan. I wonder how FPX are going to want to approach this. They're going to get first sights onto Zan, and that's too many cooks in that kitchen for Zan to handle. And that'll force that defensive Bowman back.
That's just a slight mistake on positioning there because you had a great angle to keep one tight spot. But when you're staying out in the open a little bit and you have to focus towards spawn in that right side of B-Link and you're falling back, you're losing your focus of where your crosshair was at and you get caught on a contact play. So well done for YFP to start things off. Zan falls and they have the power numbers. They can work the map now. I mean, look at the same default that we're seeing here. It comes down to this fight on the A side. Could pull out a rotate. For DCM, they still hold their ground.
Yeah, Decimate not really flustered from losing someone at A, and here's entry from YFPX, satcheling in. Reach util, but they got slowed on entry, but Sekia still managed to find that pick, and Carry is flashed up. Easy kill for Neko. Once the lineup was there, 9 seconds left, the plant will go down. And only 2 remaining from Decimate for the retake coming through the top, but not wanting to make it too obvious. And staying nice and quiet. Round the corner is Kurosu, who's going to line up on this Omen. An easy pick onto Amluo, and Sekia finishes off the job, and YPX come back.
With a flawless, too. And I like the idea of DCM. The amount of rounds that we've seen YFP run this default to have Raven on one side and Kurosu on the other. The idea was to shut down at least one portion of the map early in the round. But after that kill happens, they had full reign on the attack to just work the map and have very late lurks that was detrimental for DCM to hold. But I do love the question that we had of how do you break the trips on the B side. Looks like it's just keeping a dash on Neko Aimer, hit the trip and dash around just to break crosshair placement and go for an instant entry. So that was nice. And that's going to put DCM fairly low in the economy. Thankfully, they could still have some sort of a buy. They have small shields only on Emluo, but the rest looks very healthy for a buy. And once again, trying to find something, shutting down one portion of the map, having one player move aggressively. It's their duelist, Zad, down towards this bottom middle.
Ooh. This attack of YPX already got hit by some util, dodging the Prowler, more to deal with, and the bird earlier on revealed Zan presence in mid, and YPX are trying to deal with it, but Misu getting 2 definitely favors Decimate's defense, taking care of mid. Now, where do you take this spike? Well, Raven's lurk on A has always been making great calls. No one's really here, not hearing much, and all the attention was in mid. So YPX need to take advantage of this moment, get the spike down, and so they will.
Yeah, and the ult, it was confirmed that the hit was going to come up towards the A site. At least they get the plant down. But they could shoot back. A 2 versus 4, very doable with YFPX position. Looking to both double up towards spawn.
Retake. It's the paranoia in first. Carry connection onto Kurosu. 1v4. Raven with a spike playing it. It's not the worst situation to be in. Can play off of the smoke. When are you going to swing? It's going to be a crossfire from DCM as soon as Raven wants to come out. You just have to maybe play your life and listen for the defuse. The snakebite does reveal her position. But who is going to want to tap this spike? You hear it now. He's getting it to halfway. Raven turns and burns on 2. But the defuse keeps going. Can she prevent it? She got the 3rd. She's switching a gun. It didn't work out. That was so clutchable for Raven.
What a nice try for Raven there. They mentioned it at the desk. Someone that could really step up to the plate is Raven herself. Getting 3 kills in a 4 versus 1, and unfortunately, that's one of the toughest things that you have to deal against when an Omen is still alive for the retake. I mean, that smoke blooms up. You're running out of bullets with 4 players. You had to be pristine in your shots, but it was still a valiant attempt. I love the beginning of this round still, no matter what, though, for the attack side. With that forward position you had from your raise from Zan of Decimate, as soon as she gets that first kill, you saw how YFP was just really pushing out on different angles, trying to hold things back, and they ran into a lot of mistakes and caused them to drop a lot of players in the process, and almost winning 2v4 is huge. The Rolling Thunder off the contact of the camera, showstopper misses.
This is going to force YPX back, satcheling in to Zan, who's hungry for some kills and will continue to starve in that case. YFPX, they got the pick, but they know there's at least 1 or 2 more people that like to sit at B. Now, enemies being revealed. YFPX now get the exact structure of these sites, wanting to maybe break this door and cut into B. This is going to put a lot of weight on Carrie's shoulders with the Guardian to hold off this push.
You break trip 2, the dog goes towards the spawn. It's not going to see anything, though, so DCM could still try to figure out where the hit is coming from, and for YFP to still have to potentially use utility to take care of this market. Having the Sky here could maybe flash for them to move in, but you're going into the same defaulting. The mid-round comes out. It's time for DCM to find information. I think that Prowler from Misu spotted mid, and that's to initiate now the call towards the B site hit.
Emluo at least takes care of the lurker from Raven, who is going way past the site. Now numbers are even up. The spike is being planted over at B. Teleport from the shadows all the way at the back. And Kazler's going to stick with it. And to her right, yeah, Emluo, the Omen match. Oh, but Emluo turned away at the wrong moment. Wasn't sure where that teleport could be. And now it's 2 more players around the corner to deal with. Trade back in the favor of Decimate. Now the retake coming through the top side, and Carrie had a chance to maybe flank, but the timing was off, and Rolling Thunder to give this defense a chance, but they're running out of time. Neko playing their life at 1 HP, hose down. Sekio with the 2 lined up, only gets 1.
Come on.
Diffuse for Rise.
Easy one there.
Halfway.
Yeah.
Easy. Okay, good.
Yeah, that said, I mean, I love at least from the ult that you had from Kazler towards the spawn. It really kept the defenders at bay, and they had an opportunity to really run that clock down, especially after Kazler got the kill into Emluo. It pulled out the breach and I think the fade at the same time. That said, though, when you have these 4 positions and getting hit by Nightfall, that really spoils everything else. I mean, look how pushed up they were. It came down to these trade situations. A little bit of a misfire or mispositioning on that crossfire setup. Maybe that could have changed things differently for YFP on the post plant. Now DCM, they take the lead now by 2. And the economy's finally broken for YFP. Not looking to move very quickly. Just some early mid control. And really not trying to explode with the Blade Storm. We're not really setting up here for Neko. We're still trying to work the map.
Forward positioning from Decimate on A. Rosanna's such an aggressive duelist, loves exploring the map, and isn't afraid to take space, but that's been punished, so gotta dial back or at least have some friends, and that's why maybe you're pairing up with a Fade in that case. So Decimate could be starting to push up A, but are they hearing what's going on in mid? Going forward, though, with the Blade Storm is Neko. Try to look both ways. Ahead of them, though, is Rise. They haven't confronted each other yet. So 5v5. Less than a minute left. Gotta start making decisions if you're YFPX. And in this position, they've usually liked to cross into B, but they're gonna change things up and see how A is gonna work in the Blade Storm. Put a dagger through Zan's heart, but not dead yet.
Yeah, the re-heal is gonna come too. I mean, it's push and pull, and nobody moves for DCM. They still have a crossfire setup. It's pretty decent now.
Oh, the Blade Storm came in swinging, but hey, YFPX doing their best to back each other up. The spike may be down, but it's a 2-on-1 if they can move quick. It's only Rise on the site for the defense. That smoke is an interesting spot, not at the back site, breaking up in the middle, and the spike carrier just runs right into the smoke, and Rise surprises us all and gives Decimate a good lead.
Yeah, they wanted to potentially go for that smoke and give an inkling that they're going to try to plant in there safely, and then you had Kazar just walking around there, hoping to catch DCM, trying to spray through after the tap of the spike, but Rise even smarter to just hold inside that smoke. They did such a great job on the attack to initially pull out the defense by breaking that grip, by spotting the Omen inside the market. But as they hurt some decent rotates towards the top middle, they still committed towards the A side. And when you're playing single initiator, that's where it gets a little bit more difficult. How do you re-clear? How do you want to try to find information on your retakes on the site? And how do you really set up your duel list? And that crossfire was too good for DCM in the end. And they're doing the same thing. Another mid control, one.
Ooh, Decimator putting up a fight for mid this time, and very push up is Zan, but keeps putting themselves in these 1v3, 1v4 situations. And I know Zan is goated, but not that goated at the end. Decimate clear up mid. And YFPX are left with 3 people with Pit, with From the Shadows. YFPX, this would be a great spot to use the Pit if they could even get the plant down, but on the other side is Rise. They're going to play this nice and slow as their fellow Cypher of Carry just spots if there's going to be any action in mid using that camera. Not seeing much, so Rise has to know some action coming on, but hey, they're getting hidden by the smoke, and they pop out and almost have all the pins lined up for a strike. As the plant goes down, the Pit is activated. This is a tough task for Carry in a 1 versus 2, but at least to her advantage, they may not know where she is. Carry tries to creep around the edges and almost had the forehead of that Cypher, but YPX get on the board.
Yeah, that was actually really nice by Rise, playing out in the open, knowing that, you know, because the sky is already dead and you're playing just outside of the smoke, you might have an opportunity to actually catch some players off guard as they're going inside the plant. You're not going to be affected by any of that initiator utility that would allow a pop into the B site. But unfortunately, couldn't line up those 2 kills, gets popped, and that allows YFP to just convert that round. I love the aggression that came out towards mid once again. You brought up a great point here. Zan being goated, but not that goated, but I love at least how Rise continues to try to set her up before so they could try to get an early surprise kill. Just try to get your one that can hold the rest seems to be the game plan now for DCM on a defense. And it slows down for a bit. Camera comes out. There's already a fault line being set up by Rise to potentially fight back on that map.
Here.
Jump spot Caesar. They're just waiting here before they activate and try to pinch in against this Cypher lurk.
Emloa could also teleport out of here, but maybe being used as bait so Zan can swing if they want to deal with that Omen on the box.
They're doing it.
YPX still trying to deal with that, and the rest of the action traverses through mid to the backside of A, using the Seekers to light the way. But the cage from this defense is making this road a lot more treacherous. The plant will go down nonetheless, right on A. And here's the retake already from Decimate, who go 1-1 on the trade. Prowler coming through mid and onto A. Doesn't get much. YFPX have already explored the top of the site. Now the swing is going to be important for Zan and friends. The boom bot first. Smoke from Neko to hide their escape. They managed to get around the corner. So great information without giving up a life. And that snakebite from Raven
Player standing.
just melts away. Decimate steps. It's a 1v2 for Zan. They can't get the job done. This is becoming a close game, Van.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted to see earlier on when it was a 2 versus 4 or a 3 versus 4 in the retake for Decimate, and YP was at a disadvantage. They actually worked out and fought towards the spawn to get early information of seeing where the rotate's coming from. And I love that that's how it was played to allow really Neko to get all these kills, because that camera was up for Carry. They had all of that information of where the positioning was there for YFP when they ran into the site, that all 3 players were still playing inside that area. So heads up play for them to play and push up and really catch DCM off. So they're only 1 round of tying up the game. This round, Showstopper trying to go quick towards the front of the A site. It's just going to hit the trip. Wastes out the Showstopper, but this is huge right now for YFP to just pivot towards the B site, but there's a stack here.
Who is gonna deal with that trip for me? The showstopper. I'm the star of the show. But it didn't happen there. So you get rid of that ultimate. YFPX. All right, they set up camp mid. Well, you could be surrounded by a bunch of bad guys. So what are we gonna do with this information? They usually like to go to the back of mid, and whether using a smoke to cross into A or to B, but they're just gonna back out slowly because this information from Kurosu around the B site. listening
Yeah.
in, but all of DCM are stacked.
I'm pretty sure Caruso's hearing the camera come up and down towards that B main, and especially with the showstopper coming out at the beginning, now that it's super quiet, YFP knows something's up. There's a stack somewhere. They still have to figure out if it's towards the A or the B site. And again, because you only have a single initiator, they're going to have to start dogging here towards the market to get something. And off that TP, though, that gets canceled out, that's going to be heard by Raven. This might initiate a pivot back towards the A site. Nope, he's going to move towards
Just
B.
checking who was crossing at A, but yeah, coming right back to B. YFPX taking care. I've already lost Kazler in that case, so no more smokes available. They're going to still try to cross through A, and that's a great pick onto Zan. Now they got to book it quick. There's only 13 seconds left. The plant will be successful. Retake coming through the top, but this mid engagement too is important. And Misu crosses right in front of Kurosu.
Well done. Allows that hat to come out too. It'll ping on all three in the back.
Hey, you survived the paranoia, but what else is left? Just gunfire. YFPX just have to anchor the site. And Rolling Thunder at 1 HP. Rise believes in miracles. YFPX managed to escape, but they have to prevent the defuse. Getting around this, it's halfway tapped. Kurosu gets there in time, and we're tied 5-5.
I love the idea. I mean, it was a nice try. Rolling Thunder to get carry moving down forward to pick up a Vandal and then hold the off angle when it's not planet for YFP on the pulse line after that. But yeah, I mean, the read was perfect for DCM to stack towards that B site first. They were heading towards that direction, but when it was their turn to try to find the information and it went for that TP towards that A site, that was the call from that lurk from Raven once again to say, hey, the TP got canceled. We heard their showstopper at the beginning of the round. I think this stack is actually happening towards B, and they're trying to find the information right now. So they pivot back towards A. They had it done, but YFP still wins the fight in the end because of the better weapons that they had. It was a lower buy that you had for DCM. Money's back in their favor. Hopefully the Nightfall can allow for them to do better retakes this time around. The name of the game is YFP continuing to work this middle very, very slowly. And DCM, they never want to... Actually, they've tried for 2 rounds so far and had success on one of those 2. Now they want to play the off angle instead inside the market where Rise is currently standing.
YFPX have really good coverage on the B. Use the paranoia to get in, but they get hit by Nightfall on mid, and now they're getting pinched. YFPX are going to fight for their life, but dropping Spike forces them in this position. They cannot leave quite yet. DCM is to their left and at the front. And depending on how MLO approaches this right side, YPX could get surrounded. Thankfully, they grab the spike and they get out of this treacherous situation. They go towards B. And judging by how DCM still have their sights set on mid, they may not know this B cross is happening.
It was such a big attempt for a trap play there with the fault line Nightfall. And they unloaded all that raise and Fade utility, but couldn't get the hit. But now the B's hit's coming, and Neko gets the opener.
Yeah, I like the smoke in the cage right at the mid door, so IPX managed to cross and keep most of their lives. And they get the spray and pray through that one, too. 2 defenders removed from DCM, and Spike planted all up to Emlo. In a 1 versus 4 with Kazler and Kurosu, quite low in health, but Emlo has been probably the most impressive player when it came to their run against Shopify. The crossfire is it set up, some shots exchanged into Raven, but YFPX get a lead.
Great fundamentals there for YFPX, and indeed getting the lead is huge right now when it really looked like it was going to be DCM's first half with how well they were playing the holds and also the retakes on in this series. That said, though, when they worked towards this B site, it came down to those fundamentals. They worked the power of numbers. They got that trip. They only had 1 smoke available, and they worked against that smoke to actually be able to cross inside this B site. And also using the players that actually have higher HP to be first contact. It was actually huge, which allows for them to go for these swings and trades right after if it was needed. So last round for DCM. In this half, it's low. A very low buy, but it's them with Guardians in. I know we talked about the GC Sheriff. I also believe in the GC Guardian.
I believe in Zan having the Vandal, though. At least he got 1 rifle. It'd be 1 rifle to rule them all. With YFPX free control of mid. At the back is Misu, who's about to get approached there. The dog is going to reveal them. Neko need to jump in. Bladestorm at the ready. And Misu respecting that. And my bad. Didn't know that was your game. But who looking here to assist her is Carrie. Ready to set up that crossfire, but YPX just crossing into B. And now Carrie has to run back and try to cut off their rotations, but the smoke allows YPX to get onto site and the plant down. Carrie could swing and prevent it. Wow, that's a great shot. Spike down, still being planted, but it buys some seconds for Decimate to rotate and get into position for the retake.
Such a mistake right there to let your Omen getting picked off. Now there's no smokes here. You have to play inside the site. DCM's in a good spot still.
There's the retake all at once, and not much of a fight, even though DCM all swung at the same time. YFPX, you see the improvements. When the last time we saw them actually play on Sunset, it was 13-6 for Decimate, and YFPX only took 4 offensive rounds max. So this is quite a turnaround with this compositional change too.
Yeah, exactly. And I just love, again, what question mark that I had is how do you break the trips? And it's been Neko all along just running through these trips. And then they have 2 other players running behind her and go for these trades. Even if, actually, she doesn't even get picked off by the trap sets by what we saw from Carrie in that previous half. So very well done on how they just keep working those fundamentals on how they want to enter against a Cypher. Now we switch things around. It's looking to be semi-quick. A fault line being set up for a fast hit towards the B main for DCM. Off a camera, actually. So they'll just play contact instead as they see nobody peeking out from YFP.
Satchel out.
Okay, paint shells, satchels. Someone was around the corner. Paint shells on the left side, satcheling in. And Kurosu in a lot of trouble. I would be screaming in my mic right now. Now she's screaming 6 feet under. Kurosu dealt with. Neko on the retake. Everyone is just staggering in for YPX. They haven't put like too much of a dent, at least in kills. They did do damage, but that's the silver lining. That's all you can really hope for. If you're YFPX, Raven gets 1. And DCM take pistols.
That's just so unlucky to get a dink through the wall there because you already see the amount of utility and ghosts that were coming out for the attack for DCM on that hit. There was so much utility for a first wave hit, and there wouldn't be much after that. But that first wave was good enough for YFP to just be fully blinded the whole round rather. As Kurosu, I saw nothing but yellow around their face the whole time behind that pillar, and he had no chance to hold against DCM's flood. So very well done on how they executed that on the attack side with this roster, and they're looking to do it again.
Oh, this is already a swing from the defense. And on this box is Neko satcheling in. Dan doesn't know that there's a jet right beside her. You need to check that box. And this is going to cost them dearly. Now this offensive DCM has control of the box and smokes in their way. But this has gotten the attention of the defense of YFPX. We'll have Neko on site. Kazar watching the hallway. Sekia looking at mid if they were to have some cheeky cross at A. The offense is going to use Prowler mid. No contact there. And now that you smoke the top of mid, we could see DCM ditch this and start exploring the mid area. But DCM are really taking their time, and they punished the flanker of Raven. So now A site becomes an option.
It's definitely going to be the option right now for DCM. It started off so well with how you saw Raven pushing up, but committed too much into that rotate. Maybe should have held an angle instead and not walk into the mid control, walking back into B main, and that just opens up A for them.
So wanting to take their time just in case there was someone mid that managed to get to A in time. Using some util just to make sure, and now this should be a safe plant for Decimate. Smoking now the top of site. Also a main. Oh, but there's 2 flankers coming from the bottom and the top for YFPX. Decimate, will they be looking at the right place at the right time? Emlo is watching the flank. Can she handle the 1v2? She cannot. Misu turns for the trade and comes out on top on both kills. Now Decimate can set their sights on the top side. Misu with the 4th. Give her the ace. Kazler says no. In a 1v2, it could be possible. Running out of time, though. The spike is ticking down. And all Decimate have to do is play their life. Kazler's just going to save the gun.
Which is not bad, at least for Kazler. Upgrading the pistol, upgrading the Vandal into the next round, but also giving their lives away to Misu's rifle instead of actually trying to die to Spike when the gamble that you had on that B site didn't pay off, could be detrimental for them in the longer run when Misu already has Nightfall in 2 orbs or whatever, and then they could also start snowballing it with a Rolling Thunder a couple of rounds later. So I think that this is potentially a bad call for YFP to continue to fight towards that A side on that post plant. We'll see how that's going to run down. I mean, so far DCM, they could just continue to work the conditioning of this B side hit. Last time on camera, didn't see Neko Aimer crossing over and not going to fall into that same mistake once again.
Caster manages to teleport out when they got hit by Breach Utils, so to preserve your life in that situation is great. It's Neko Aimer hidden by the smoke. Paint shells may put them in a dire spot. And I think they got flashed up too. DCM now going into the site 1-1. Actually, no, the retake came in so fast by YFPX. Raven with a huge double kill, Spike in front of Kurosu, and Decimate don't have the space to work with. Carry has 30 HP though. I don't know if you're stoked about that, but who's bleeding more, you or Kurosu? Kurosu comes out on top, and YFPX back in the lead.
All right, you did some damage at least into this round in your bonus. This is going to be, look at the buy from both of these teams. So a very, very important swing round in round number 16. As I mentioned before, Rise actually was the one that was farming up the orb on that previous round. So this round, potentially, they might try to go for that same type of conditioning into that B main. It wasn't that contested, and they've been starting this side the whole time. So maybe it could allow for them to pick up an orb early. But instead, they're looking for a mid control in round number 16. Slower pace, more defaulting happening on the attack side. They're not really getting pressured by YFP. And look at this wall. That's a change at least from YFPX. They decide to put the wall from Viper up towards this B main to just counter the amount of times that DCM have been fully running out of B main at the beginning of the half.
DCM, managed to knock the door down. Satcheling in is Zan, who brings out the paint shells at the worst moment. Wasn't expecting that second player at the backside of B. Losing Zan early in these rounds has been killing DCM, but I guess Emluo is our new favorite player with that double kill, giving DCM a chance in this. Rise with the third. You have Emluo and Carry left. Emluo not having a lot of health, but having the spike and Carry by your side is good. Now DCM will teleport near the B main box. YPX are coming from mid, holding hands. Sekia having a lot of health, will dog in to help support Kurosu. Not sure where Emluo is. Just need to sneeze on her, and there you go. Emluo's dealt with 1v1 the hats. Didn't know Sekia was that close. And that'll give the defuse to YFPX.
Leaned out on the hat and trying to throw it out, and unfortunately shows their body to allow Sekia to get that pick. So that's unfortunate there, but a nice diffuse in the end for YFPX. This, at least, if you're looking at this rematch between DCM and YFP, it's nice to see that YFP are actually putting up a good fight ever since they've learned from playing a KO Gecko, switching over to something a little bit more traditional with the exception of a Jet instead of a Raze that Bala mentioned before. It's almost at the forefront of what Sentinels is currently playing right now. And they're actually making this work with less utility on defense as well because they have a Jet instead. And it's just Neko Aimer playing off angles, and everybody kind of got caught running back off rotates that turned out to be in favor of YFP in the end.
A mixed buy on the right, but a lot of pistols from DCM. Gonna try and push in together. You live and die as a team. Just running right through the smoke, satcheling in, teleporting onto site, and the smoke's cutting off vision for YFPX on the top side. So they're gonna explore around a main, around the corner. Big win from Zan, but traded. As he got the rolling, was that the rolling thunder, I believe? Either way, yeah, both. Really overwhelmed YPX at the top, but they come out with the kills. Bladestorm. Neko has been really clutch. And the moment where they don't have a good gun to work with, Neko 1v1 dashes! Misu can't keep up. What a win from Neko.
Neko is running with full confidence this series so far, from an opening 3K on a pistol and clutching the way that she just did to put 10 on the board for YFP. I love the idea. You were wondering what kind of ults that we had for DCM there. If you're a fan of Chrono Trigger, that was basically an X-Strike that you saw. A Nightfall in one corner, and then you had the Rolling Thunder in the end so they could try to pressure towards the spawn. But that was all just off a gamble in that area to try to fight in that spot. They never expected to flank from the back. And now, unfortunately, those ults that I mentioned was going to be super important for DCM in the long run. Now becomes some slight mistakes here where the round is, or the series is back in favor of YFP on this first map. Because now not only do they get these clutch situations, but it's also a moment now that the ults are spiraling in favor of YFP in the potential last few rounds of this first map.
This is turning out to be a really fun series because we all walked into this thinking Decimate were the huge favorites, winning 13-4 and 13-6 against YFPX in the first open qualifier, but it's been a while, been a month or two since that time. YFPX had to change their composition. They were running a neon and some chamber and different stuff, and they've now gone to something a lot more traditional, and now they have a lot more options of what to work with. They're able to shut down Zan's aggression. That was something to take note of, and DCM maybe underestimated who they were going up against too.
That's a great call. They were always able to really shut down Zan's aggressive positioning on that defense to start things off. Now that they're playing on the attack side though for DCM, we haven't really seen like an opportunity for Zan to really open up as well and to be that forefront. At least the plan is to work as a group here and run for these, initiate the breach and fade so they can work as a group for these trades. Right now, there's no real orb control to start things off for DCM. Not trying to focus on a rolling thunder at the beginning of this round. More on mid, trying to see if YFP is going to push forward, and instead they're pushing forward towards A.
And as soon as Corrosive even heard or saw something with the camera, you had the paranoia come out, and this jet of Neko dashing in, gets the kill on the Zan, gets kind of stunned up, but manages to get out, have the team set up for trades. But DCM still hope to punish Neko in this position. It's a trade 1-1. And now 3 versus 3 with the spike still in hand for DCM, but 2 defenders removed, making the site look a lot more weakened. Giving a chance for this Prowler to look through elbow. But now with the smoke in the way, you just don't know what's on the other side. So DCM really hesitating on how they want to get into A. Now that the smoke is in position and the Prowler is out, you're feeling a lot more confident to send your planter, get the job done.
Yeah, so they used all that util that Misu had just behind the Omen smoke that Mluo put just to make sure nobody's on top of the boxes in the back of the spawn there on the defensive side. So now they know, guaranteed, the site's open for them to take and plant, but it's a safe plant. This is not a good spot here. Well, actually, you have Rise with an aftershock. So it really comes down to Mluo and Misu to try to delay as much as you can. Thankfully, they have this paranoia as well.
And there's some flashes from Sekia. Getting some intel, you know that someone's on the other side of box. The other 2 at elbow. Here's a retake from YFPX, wanting to deal with that player behind box, but the trades were set up. Rise in a 1v2. You heard the tap on the spike. Now has to go and check it. And you're just stressed. Now the second tap, you know that it's maybe not yet. Now through the smoke. It was let go, and Kazler, good patience, gets the defuse for YFPX, now 11-7.
That's where it's so hard when you're banking your last final stand to be an aftershock to deny a plant, but it's just a breach alone. I love the TP away that you saw from Mluo, and the paranoia actually allowed for this kill to happen on default, at least. But after they both instantly died, Misu and Mluo, there's not much that you can count on your breach. Like, after that kill right there, they should have somehow found a way to keep Rise alive, at least one of the players alive, so that Rise has a chance to use that aftershock. So that unfortunately is not looking good for DCM on that post plan. And YFP looking to close out. First time we see an op out of this map, and that's in the hands of Neko Aimer holding the middle side. DCM though, change of pace. They're steamrolling towards the A side using elbow.
They're stomping away too, and Raven's like, I respect it. Come on in. We'll deal with you later. Throwing some paint shells just in case someone was around the corner. Paranoia through the entry. No connection from Kazler. But YFPX have already started rotating for A.
Yeah.
DCM. You can just get that first blood. This will really unstructure this defense. And now waiting for the ult. Nightfall forces the defense back. Showstopper. At least he got to yell at him at a distance. No kills there. But the plan is going down.
Yeah. Create the space. They create the space at least. But once again, not plan it for them. How do you hold the pulse spot now for DCM?
Sekia has dog and flashes. Gonna throw those all in. Even the Seekers too. YFPX still have to cross the smoke, and you gotta go in as a team. And Neko able to get some 2 kills off of that. YFPX are gonna run into this elbow area and not stand a chance.
That looked doable right there, though, because Neko Aimer somehow had the backstab on 2 players and was getting ready to go on a steamroll, potentially even dropping that 3rd player inside the elbow, as the last stand only had a couple of Guardians. We mentioned that GC Guardian there on the side of just GC in general, but it's what DCM had on that pulse plan, and it worked out for them to stay alive at least for another fight. But the silver lining in there, the saving grace right now for DCM is they could potentially string in another round with them, because we have an eco of YFPX, one of the rare moments that we had of YFP, probably because they invested so much here in the operator. For the rest of that utility, DCM has a chance to narrow that gap by 2 as they take this mid-control to start in. They're setting up a trap play here, potential paranoia outside of the camera. Snake bite towards the door.
Time to swing, as that camera alluded to, and goes the way of DCM. Now they can pick up the spike and go to B. No defenders left onto B, as Carry is taking care of the rotators from A, and you didn't even need to plant. DCM, these have been some big rounds to absolutely kill the momentum that YFPX had in this half.
Yeah, we're just missing maybe a 3rd body or something like that could maybe cause a ruckus and give a lot of value into Kazler's TP on the top of that market door. Because that snake bite, if actually was thrown down there by Raven, I don't know if she actually had one or if she used one in that previous round at the door. Having that 3rd body would have definitely been a beautiful crossfire trap play setup there for YFPX. Nonetheless, though, we talked about saving grace, room to breathe for DCM. The upgrade with a lot of weapons at this point around. Op comes out once again for Neko Aimer. Fast hit towards the A site. Instantly a pit comes out.
What a well-timed pit, too. Completely kills that chance. The Prowler's not having fun in that, but Isu's kind of hanging around just to see if they could get the pick onto the Viper to kill that pit. Maybe A was salvageable. And meanwhile, you got Emluo, who was left behind, didn't get picked up after recess, and we'll just see what the lurk, if the defense doesn't even know they're there. So maybe Emluo could get a pick, and if anyone were to cross into elbow, which don't expect the defense to, but it's a DCM cut noise.
Oh no.
Run past mid. And Neko with the up. What are we doing here? Oh, still managed to get Zan. And even though they're stunned up, Neko dashes out and is safe.
It was so nice. I mean, I was the reason why I said uh-oh is it came down to they have to make noise on the B side and try to activate Emluo on the lurk on A elbow so they could pivot back towards the A side. And they both die on both extremities, allowing Neko Aimer to get another kill here towards B main.
2, 3. How do you stop this up?
You can't.
Well, your teammates will kill the rest. That's how you stop it, I guess. But hey, match point for YFPX. They could upset Decimate in this map.
Yeah, a great start here for YFPX. They're looking clean right now, and that shot was huge. Because, like I said, when we were posted up that way, I love that at least for DCM, they understood that there was going to be somebody in a forward position, and they used utility. The fault line came out, the Prowler came out, but somehow the shot came behind the Prowler to get the pick there onto Zan peeking out. And now you're buying whatever you can, small shields across the board except for one player, one Bulldog. And DCM's going back to the tried and true of what worked on the pistol round. B side, but this time with a split.
Oh, our early engagement from Zan, pushing through mid by themselves when they have teammates mid that could help support. And Zan has gotten multi-kills so many times, but gets in these situations where they can't pull it off, at least not without support. And with that camera from the Cypher around the corner, they know when Zan is walking into that room before she even knows what's up. So now DCM have to play a person down, and with match point on YFPX, that's tough.
Yeah, they tried to do a lot, though, for DCM. Lots of utility from the Paranoia and the Fault Line into Market. And then the last 2 players on middle were hoping for a run out on that mid smoke so they could punish somebody on a trade. But if YFPX, they continued with trying to stay true to their protocols and just play a little bit more reactively here and let them walk into them, and they've been paying the price. And it's working out well.
Exactly where you are.
I like that YFPX trying to punish that cross. Having the heads up from the Cypher camera. DCM now getting their position revealed. Or Carry's revealing position of the defense, and DCM's not looking so comfortable because of that. Hoping to get the plant down. 2 defenders on the other side, waiting for Neko to come through the top with the op. Rolling Thunder will shake up these 2 defenders. Neko's in position with the op, though. DCM have to respect it. They still get sights onto Misu. Has his defense stabilized. Neko gets the job done. YFPX with the defuse will be taking Sunset.
My gosh, what a map there by YFPX, especially in the protocols of the retakes as well. They've definitely looked like they were working hard, like working in the background, getting ready for this series so that they can actually get the revenge against DCM. And they looked very good from the attack onto the defense. And this is looking very promising for an upset in the series if it continues this way, moving on to Lotus as that second map.
I don't want to be a second half Sandra and really tunnel on that, but I'm really happy to see Neko Aimer really hone in on the Aimer part of the name and how pivotal their op play was on these defensive rounds, and how their team is waiting for them. And they made the plays, they pulled it off. YFPX will upstate Decimate and take map number 1. We got one more potentially to go. We're going to send it to a break. See you on the other side.
Hey guys, it's Jimmy Lin. In this series, I'm going to walk you through attack on Pearl. Watch out for the stairs, clear this angle. You're going to be able to fight this.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Told them again, I ain't here to make up no friends. I just came through yet again. We love you, never got one of them. Top of the pile yet again. They can't stop this child now again. Reigning champ, I won't lose it. So you know I'm gonna win that again. Told them again,